Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us for the course planning presentation for current grade 11 students going into grade 12. This presentation is going to be posted online on our course planning website. So there may be sections that I go over pretty quickly. Don't freak out. You can revisit this presentation later if you feel like you've missed anything. So first, we are going to acknowledge that we are working and learning today on the traditional unceded and ancestral territories of the Matsqui, Kwantlen, Katzie, and Semiahmoo First Nations. Going to quickly introduce you to our counseling department. So we have Mr. Kemp, Ms. Barani, Ms. Glasgow, Ms. Michael, and myself, Ms. Babalas. You can see there that we look after kids, our caseloads, based on last names. So mine, for example, is students with the last names from SH to Z. And then we also have Mr. Kai, who works in our office. He looks after all pre-IB and IB students. And then the lovely lady that you meet at the front desk, if you come down to the counseling center, is Ms. Kelsey. We are fortunate to work with two career advisors. We have Ms. McNabb and Ms. Hansen. You can visit them in room 1152 or reach out to them via email or Teams. Some of the things that they can help you with is career advice or career exploration, as well as work and volunteer opportunities in our community. They can also help with some general post-secondary questions. So things we're going to cover in today's presentation is an overview of what you need in order to graduate high school. We're going to look generally at what some college and universities look for in terms of admissions. We're going to go over the trades programs that are offered by our district, course planning for the 2026 and 2027 school year, and then finally, very briefly, how to enter your course selections. So I'm going to let you take a quick peek at this because these are all of the required courses that you need in order to graduate. So hopefully by now we've finished our grade 10 courses. We might be partway through our grade 11s. And then the grade 12s that are required are either English Studies 12 or English First Pupils 12, Career Life Connections, and then 2 additional grade 12 courses. Now, at some point in your grade 10, 11, and 12 years, you needed to complete a fine art or ADST course. You need to also have completed an Indigenous course, and then you have to have written 3 ministry assessments. So the Literacy 10, Numeracy 10, and Literacy 12, which you will do in your grade 12 year. This is not new anymore. This was introduced in 2023 that you needed to complete an Indigenous focus course in order to graduate. These are the ones that you can choose from, right? Some of you have already done this in grade 10. Grade 11 offers English First Pupils Lit Studies and Writing. And then if you have not yet completed one, you do still have 2 more chances to do this in grade 12 with English First Pupils or BC First Pupils, which is a socials-based course. Now, you don't have to only do one. If you enjoyed the content of this course, take it every year. Now, when we're thinking about planning for after high school, we have options, right? You could go straight into working. You could pursue a trade or technical studies, or you can go on to continue your post-secondary studies through college or university. Now, it's never too early to start thinking about what life after high school looks like. So I want to introduce you to this website. It's called Education Planner BC. This is the go-to for almost all post-secondary options in the province. This is also where you will go to apply for them in the fall of grade 12. So Education Planner BC, please take a peek at the website. You can go through search, you can look through all of the different institutions that are listed, you can explore all of the different programs that they offer. It's just good to get an idea about what you might be interested in studying so that we can plan for your grade 12 courses accordingly. So again, yep, on this website, find some programs that match your interests. It lists the admission requirements. So this is where it's going to inform our course planning. And yeah, like I said, never too soon to start. I really encourage you to explore this website, explore the different schools that you're interested in. And of course, if you have questions after you've done some research, you can make an appointment with us, one of your counselors, to review that. Now, generally, when we want to apply for a post-secondary school, so this is more geared towards the colleges and the universities, there are things that we need to consider, which is your mark in English 12, which math and sciences you've done, how many approved academic grade 12 courses you are taking, and then, of course, whether or not you satisfy their minimum average requirement. Schools often have a general entry requirement, which, like I said, is English 12, and then the grade you get in that course, as well as 3 is kind of the minimum academic grade 12 courses that you need to take in order to get into a university. There are options to go into post-secondary studies with less than 3 academic courses. You just might be more limited in the schools that you can apply to. And then important for you to note is that more than the general is your specific program, right? So for example, you might only need English and 3 academic courses to get into the University of the Fraser Valley. But if you want to study sciences at that school, then there's going to be more specific requirements that you have to meet. All of this is crystal clear either on the school's direct website or on educationplannerbc.com. This is what I'm talking about, doing some research, exploring the website, learning about different schools and their programs. We're going to quickly go over just generally what some schools in our province require to give you an idea, but don't take this as my word. It's really important that you actually go look at these websites yourself and ensure that you are satisfying their entrance requirements. So we generally divide into 2 main categories of post-secondary studies, Faculty of Arts versus Faculty of Sciences. Now, there are many, many, many more faculties out there. This is just where we see most students kind of fall into, so these are the 2 categories that we show. So the first one I have here is UBC. And you see when I talk about which math specifically you're taking and which sciences you're taking. So in the Faculty of Arts, which is a big umbrella covering, English, sociology, psychology, history, all of that, you can choose the pre-calc route or you can choose the foundations route. Whereas if you wanted to pursue the sciences, you are required to take pre-calculus. In the Faculty of Arts for UBC, they're not too picky on which science you take, whereas for the Faculty of Sciences, they require you to take Chemistry 11 and Physics 11. And then you see that UBC requires a total of 6 academic grade 12 courses. Okay. We're going to go over a couple other schools here, but I'm not going to spend too much time talking about them. If you are interested, you can click back on this presentation later and look at the details. So here's the comparison for SFU. Again, it's similar in terms of needing Chemistry and Physics 11 for sciences, and then being good with either pre-calc or foundations of math for arts. SFU is generally looking for 5 academic grade 12 subjects. For the University of Victoria, again, you're seeing a pattern now for sciences. They need pre-calculus, chemistry, and physics. Whereas for the arts, they're happy with foundations or pre-calc, and they're not too picky on which science that you take. So for University of Victoria, they're looking for 4 approved academic grade 12 classes. And then UVic, we're starting to loosen up on our entrance requirements here. University of Fraser Valley, requires 3 academic grade 12 classes. So there are many, many, many more schools in the province. I just highlighted some of the ones that our students tend to apply to. And then here are some college, well, you know what? They're college universities too that have some looser entrance requirements, Douglas, KPU, and Langara. So the big stickler for these ones is the grade that you achieve in your English 12 course. So you can see that most of them are looking for something at least 60%. Aim for higher, 67, 70, 73%, like a C plus to a B in your English 12 to get into these schools. Now, moving away from post-secondary schools, I want to speak quickly to our Youth Train in Trades program. This is a really cool opportunity where if you think you want to pursue a future in the trades, you can actually start that training while you're still in your grade 12 year. Now, the perk with this is that you are skipping the wait list that comes with applying after high school. The tuition is covered, right? The district is paying for it. You just need to cover the cost of books and some random extras. You are getting dual credit, which means by participating in the Youth Train and Trades program, you are getting high school credit as well as post-secondary credit at the same time. And then you kind of get through this program a lot quicker. So then you're on your way to the workforce much faster. These are the trades programs that are currently offered in our district. There is hairstylist, professional cook 1, piping and plumbing, electrical, carpentry, auto service tech, horticulture, and the newest one is welding. If you have any interest in this program, please make an appointment ASAP to see our career advisors and they can get you going on the process. Here's a brief overview of what applying for the Youth Train and Trades program looks like. It is becoming more and more popular, so they're often unable to take all students who apply. This is why I'm saying it's good to get in early to find out what makes you an eligible and a competitive applicant. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to check in with our career advisors. You are going to check the prerequisites for the program to make sure that you have that covered. There is quite a thick application that you need to complete. You also will need the career advisor as well as your counselor to complete portions of that application package. So it's good to get it early. In the spring, applicants who meet their criteria will get an in-person interview. They just want to gauge your level of interest in the program and make sure that you're going to be committed to doing it. And then depending on which program it is that you applied for, some of them start right away in semester 1 of your grade 12 year. Some of them don't start until semester 2. So all that information we can access at the career advisor's office. Now, many of you do ask about how to get extra credit. Most of you will have more than enough credit to graduate by the time you finish grade 12. But for those of you who are engaged in some of these extracurricular activities, you can actually submit some documentation for us to give you extra credit for having done those. So some of the common ones are the language challenge exam, having achieved, I think it's level 6, 7, 8 in Royal Conservatory of Music, having competed at a high level in your sport, participating in cadets and some of those summer camp opportunities, doing a higher level of first aid and life-saving courses, and then as well the ICBC training. So if you have questions about any of this, feel free to look online to see if you can get external credit or talk to the person who organizes your extracurricular activity. Maybe they know. And if you think that is something that is eligible, then you can give us the paperwork to put that through. Okay, now on to the exciting part, course planning for next school year, your last year of high school. So, very important information before we get into the specifics is that how you complete your course planning dictates how our timetable is created for next year and which staff we carry forward. So it's really, really important that you are thoughtful, that you are intentional with your course planning so that we can create the best timetable to service all of your wants and needs. Only courses that have enough kids registered will run. So if you are very passionate about an elective, for example, then you want to make sure that you sign up for it, maybe rally some of your friends, maybe rally some people that you think would also be interested to also sign up for it so that it will have enough interest to run next school year. Now, you know that we are a big school. You hear this all the time, but what that means is we are not able to guarantee your first choice with courses. Usually this applies to the non-academic electives. We will do our very best to make sure, A, everybody has everything they need to graduate. Well, we will make sure that happens. B, we will try our best to make sure that you can access all of the courses you need for your post-secondary program. And then after that, we do our best, but it is very likely that you will not land in some of your first choice classes. So offering alternates when you do your course planning is so helpful. If we run into a situation where I can't give you your first choice class, but you don't have any alternates listed, I end up just choosing a class for you. And as much as I try to match up with classes that you've maybe taken in the past, you might land in the class that you weren't super stoked to take. And so if we want to avoid that situation where I randomly choose for you, then it's really helpful if you list 2 or 3 alternates so that we know what you're interested in taking. Now, the school is really keen to have all students take a full course load, right? We are not able to accommodate part-time students. And in the fall, in August, September, when we're getting ready to start the new school year, course changes, very unlikely. There are going to be very specific circumstances in which we will look at a course change, and really it just has to do with whether you're missing a course or you're maybe registered in a course that you've already completed. So don't rely on a course change in August or September. Please make sure you are intentional about picking your classes now. Again, this is just a review of all the things that you need to have done for graduation. Not going to spend too much time on this. So we're going to move on. On our course planning website, you will see a one-pager that looks something like this. This is front side, back side. So on it lists every single grade 12 course that is available for you to select. This would be a really good sheet to save or to print out as you're doing your course planning so you don't miss anything. Use it to highlight, annotate on it, and then take it to, do your course planning. On the back side here, it shows all the courses that require an application. Okay, so I'll get to the application forms later, but some classes, because we're only able to offer a limited number of blocks, we do have an application process. Now I'm kind of going to go through, I am going to go through every department here and just list all of the courses that will be available to take for next school year. Like I said, not all of these courses will run. This is just what we're offering. So if you're super into something new, please check it off, get some friends, get some like-minded individuals to also make that selection. Okay, so required, like I mentioned at the beginning of this presentation, is English First Peoples 12 or English Studies 12. You must pick one. There are other grade 12 academic courses in the English department that you can take. So Lit Studies, Contemporary Literature, Creative Writing, New Media 12, Sports Journalism. In the world of social studies, you are required to choose one of the ones listed on the left-hand side. You can absolutely take more than one. Take 2, 3, 4 if you're very interested, if this is your area of passion. And then the ones that are listed on the left are considered academic grade 12 by post-secondary institutions. The ones listed on the right are not considered to be academic courses, but they do fall under the umbrella of social studies. In the sciences and the maths, so all of these are considered academic grade 12 classes. If you were streamed previously in Foundations 12 would be your choice. If you were previously taking Pre-Calc 11, then Pre-Calc 12 and potentially Calculus 12 would be your follow-up. In the sciences, you can see the ones listed there. For Anatomy and Physiology 12, you are not required to have previously taken Life Sciences 11. Environmental Science also does not have a prereq, and neither does Specialized Science 12. For languages, French 12, Mandarin 12, Spanish 12, you must have taken the grade 11 equivalent prior. However, if you have not previously taken a language and now you're interested to try, then Intro to Mandarin 11 or Intro to Spanish 11 are excellent choices for you. We do offer something called the Language Challenge exam. This takes place in the registration takes place in the fall. The actual exam usually happens in January. This exam is appropriate for somebody who has previously learned the language elsewhere. So it's not good enough if you are conversational in that language. You have to be able to read, write, speak, analyze. You have to be able to do basically what you do in English 10, English 11, in that second language to be successful in these exams. So it's actually run by the Delta School District. And unfortunately, they only offer the languages that you see listed here: French, Japanese, Spanish, Korean, Punjabi, and Mandarin. It is definitely our hope that one day this list grows. So not something for you to think about right now, not something that you can indicate in course planning, but just to keep in mind that if this sounds like something that you want to take advantage of, you can either ask your counselor about it or pay attention to sign up info that comes out usually late September. Now, moving into the courses that are deemed to be non-academic, again, this is by post-secondary schools. So in the physical and health education world, there are all of these options. Some of them you can see we've listed are by application. So for that, you will need to check it off, and then you will have to complete an application form after course planning closes. In the business education and computers world, we have some options here. You'll see marketing and promotion is listed as an 11, but it is a course also for grade 12 students. That's just how the course code works. Yeah, nothing new over here. In the home ec world, let's see, there is a couple of new options here: food science and sustainability, as well as textiles 12, arts and crafts, and then the rest have been running for years. Drama, you will see that theater company is by audition, and there's a lot of new options available in music. A lot of the contemporary music ones, where you may not need to have a ton of past experience with an instrument. So that might be if you're interested in learning an instrument, or you know how to play and you just want to kind of meet other people who play as well leisurely and for rec, or yeah, you want to build a band. For leadership, all of these courses are by application. They are very popular. So again, you will check it off on MyEd, and then you will have to follow up later on with a separate online application. I will speak more to that later. Fine arts, animation 11 is a new one that we're offering. Everything else has been running for years. So if this is your area of passion, this is where your strengths lie, you can select as many of these courses as you want. You are not limited in how many electives that you pick. Tech ed. So a lot of these are repeats. Art Metal is a new one that we're offering, as well as Tabletop Game Theory and Design. If you're curious about what these courses entail, then I encourage you to go to our course planning website, which I will post a QR code to shortly. And then you can actually read the course catalog, and there will be a blurb that the teacher of these class has written, and that will give you the best idea. You can come and talk to your counselor about it, but I'll tell you what I do is I just pull up the course catalog myself and have you read the blurb. So that's definitely the place I want to direct you to if you're confused about, what do I learn about in engineering? What exactly does electronics look like? What do I get to play with in drafting? Okay, so go to the course planning website, please. Very, very helpful website. Now, two things. The application forms, I've mentioned that quite a few classes require one. What's going to happen is you are going to check it off in MyEd under your course selections that you're interested in taking this class. After course planning closes, somebody is going to reach out to you on Teams with a digital application form that you are then required to fill out. If you do not fill out the application, then you will not be considered for the course. Okay, so if you remember the one pager that I talked about when we started talking about course planning, on the backside lists all of the classes that an application form is required for. So make a note, if you pick a class that needs one, make sure you do it after course planning closes. If no one reaches out to you offering the application form, but you did sign up for one, then you can poke your counselor and ask them to look into it for you. Study blocks. So, like I said, part-time is not an option at Mountain. So for any students going into grade 12 who are interested in a study block, you are required to have completed 64 credits prior to September. If you're not sure about how many credits you have, you can get that looked over when you log into MyEd and you look at your grad progress. Generally, if you've been pretty successful in your grade 10 and your grade 11 year, you should be right around 64 credits. If you've taken some summer school, if you've applied for some external credit, then you'll definitely be over that threshold, but that's the line and we're holding firm to it. So you need to have at least 64 credits going into grade 12 in order to be eligible for a study block. Now, this is the link to our course planning website. So please take a picture, scan it, bookmark it. I'm hopeful that you will reference this website frequently in the next week or so as you are making your course selections. Like I said, wealth of knowledge right here. And like I mentioned, there will not really be an opportunity to change your course requests after this is done. So don't rely on, changing my mind or, my friends aren't in my class. I don't want this teacher. No, that is not going to happen. We will not be able to make any changes for those reasons. The only reason we would consider a change is if you are registered in a course that you've already taken or you somehow ended up with an incomplete timetable. This last bit, most of you who have been here for a number of years have done it. So course selection, as you know, is done online. It's done on MyEd BC. Please do this on a computer if possible and not on a phone. Just the way that the window pops up to select your classes, you won't see them all if you do it on your phone. Even on a computer, you're gonna have to scroll. So please do it on a computer. If you need to borrow a computer, you can get one from the library, maybe. If you really need help, you can come let us know here in the counseling office. But it is open on February 3rd and it closes on February 13th. So you don't have a ton of time this year to get this done. Again, closed on February 13th, but open now. So you can start exploring, start chatting. You will log into MyEd with your student number and probably a password that you've already set. At the top, you'll see a tab that says My Info. So you're going to click on that tab right there, and then you're going to follow down the left-hand side until you see requests. And that is where you are going to enter your course requests. When you are done entering everything, it is so important to please click post. I think it's on the bottom right-hand side of the screen somewhere. Post is equivalent to save. So if you've done all this work of listing your course requests and your alternates and you don't hit post, it all goes away. After you hit post, hopefully you see a green box pop up. That'll tell you that you've done everything perfectly and you can close. If you get a red box, it means you've missed something and it'll prompt you to go back to fix it. Here's a tip. You are not committing by hitting post. So at any point between now and February 13th, even if you've posted, if you change your mind, you can go back into MyEd, make changes, and then post again. Okay, so you get more than one shot at this. You can go back, make changes. It's just when we close it, which is on February 13th, then you will no longer have access to go into MyEd and make changes. Again, I've said all this before, but I just want to emphasize to please go over your course selections with your parents, your guardians, your teachers, people who know you. We really want you to be thoughtful about this course planning process, and we want you to pick courses that will satisfy graduation, that will set you up well for whatever it is that you want to do after high school. And then also that, you're going to have a good year. You're going to have a fun year. You're going to enjoy the classes that you're taking. Please, please, please put down alternates. Like I said, don't make me choose your courses for you. That is also not a reason for a course change request in September, that my counselor picked a course I didn't want to take because I didn't list alternates. Consider yourselves warned. And then here in highlight, course selection must be done by February 13th. Okay, I think this is my last slide. So course requests are open now. It needs to be done by the 13th. Please reference our course planning website. It is REMSS courseplanning.ca. If you have any questions now that we have done this presentation, you can make an appointment with your counselor by coming down to the counseling center and saying hi to Miss Kelsey. She will set you up. We are very busy at this time, so we likely won't get to you same day or even the next. But when you're ready, if you put some thought into it and you want to run it by us, please, we welcome you to come in and have a chat. And then, yeah, oops, I wrote here that application forms are due on February 13th, but that is actually incorrect. I don't think that's the process this year. Your course selections are due by the 13th, and then I believe somebody will reach out to you afterwards with the application form. So I apologize. My last line here, I don't think that's correct. Okay. That was a lot of information, and I'm super grateful to all of you who stuck with me. This presentation will get posted on the course planning website. It might also go into your grade teams channel, maybe. So feel free to go through and click through again if you feel like you missed anything. What else? That's it. Happy course planning. Thanks again for paying attention.